What's going on, fellow reef builders? I'm Jake Adams, and I got my homie Evan Montgomery up in the house. Evan has been coming to the studio about once a week to help me with various projects, and his latest projects, well, I will let you tell them what you did.
So I was lucky enough to get one of the new Gen 2 ClariSea filter rollers and be able to install that on my tank. And you know, it's a bit of a project putting it all together, as you're about to see, but I'm always up for a project like that. You know, I love spending a little time on my aquarium and really paying attention to things, seeing how new equipment functions, and you know, cleaning up the tank is always a good thing.
The other thing that's super impressive is he shot and edited this whole video on his iPhone, so he really killed it with his mobile device.
6S nonetheless.
6S, not even a new one. So enjoy the video, and right after the clip, we're gonna come back around and discuss a few of the things that he discovered along the way.
What's going on, reef builders? Evan Montgomery here, coming at you with a new video today. Going to be doing a hands-on with the ClariSea filter roller by D&D Developments. Picked this up a couple days ago. Really excited to get it in the sump, get that detritus started to get filtered out of there. This is going to be my first video, so hopefully the lighting is okay, hopefully the sound is okay, all that kind of good stuff. So I think I'm just going to set this thing on time lapse, start opening this box up, and we'll get after it. This may not get all finished here in one day. I think I'm going to need to order some more plumbing parts, because I've got kind of a unique situation going on with my drain, with two tanks feeding into one sump, and I'd like to get both of those tanks feeding into this filter roller. So let's get going. Just finished getting this thing set up. Took about 30 or 40 minutes all said and done. I wasn't exactly sure how to get the roll to stick onto the motor there, so I had to actually go on my iPad here and look that up on ClariSea's website. But I brought it over to the sump, kind of do a little size comparison here. This is the larger of the two available models of the ClariSea. So we're gonna have to move a couple things around here to make it fit in there, but I think that's doable. So I know right out of the box these things can seem a little daunting to set up. There's a lot of parts to screw together here, but there's decent instructions, there's pictures along the way, and you know, you might have noticed in the time lapse there that I messed up a couple times, had to backtrack. That's okay, all these parts come together, you're not gluing anything together or anything like that, so if you mess up you can always try again. Also just finished placing an order on the internet for a few plumbing parts here. I need to go from the flexible silicone tubing that I'm using as a drain. I ordered another barbed fitting just like that one, and I ordered a T and a couple adapters and stuff like that so I can get the frag tank drain right there plumbed in as well. In the meantime, I'm probably going to move a few things around. By the time that order gets here, I should be ready to get this thing installed, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, we're back. It's about a week later here. I received, I think, all the plumbing parts I need, a couple reducer bushings, a T. I was thinking maybe this would be better if it was a Y instead of a T, but I think it's going to work out just fine either way. I think my plan for right now is to take the bio pellets. I'm going to stack up some of the live rock and stuff that I have in the refugium section, kind of towards the back, and just make some room because it's really not doing much down there anyway right now. And then I want to take the bio pellet reactor, just move it over here for now. Like I said, it might not be long for this world, but I think I'm going to keep it around for just a little bit longer. For the purposes of this video and fitting the ClariSea in the sump, I'm going to go ahead and completely remove the skimmer. It kind of needs a cleaning anyway, so I'm going to do that also. I'm not going to hook everything up right off the bat here. I'm going to just plumb this part into my drain first and make sure it's not like any bubbling or gurgling or really loud or some weird back pressure or anything like that, and just take this process step by step here and build up from there. I got a length of 1-inch PVC that will feed into the ClariSea, and that all fits together pretty well. I kind of did a dry test here. Another thing I definitely want to do at some point, I'm not going to have time to do it this morning, but to really test the ClariSea out. I'm going to, at some point, drain all the water out of my sump next time I do a water change here in the next week or two, and then actually take a shop vac and suck out all the detritus that's in there right now, and then that'll really give me a good visual on how much is making it through the ClariSea, if anything at all, because right now there's quite a bit of stuff down here. So. Alright, so the ClariSea, I believe, is rated at about 7 to run in 7 inches of water. My sump has about 10 inches of water in it, so luckily it has these nifty little hanging brackets on the back here. I have them positioned a little high, so I just need to lower these down, probably about 2 notches, and then it'll hang on the side of my sump, and actually it won't touch the bottom, so there will be plenty of clearance for water to flow out of here and all that good stuff. So let's keep going. So I think I figured out the best configuration, at least for the time being. There's enough room in the front for the skimmer here, mostly because of time limits right here. I have to get going here pretty soon for the day, but I didn't end up getting the frag tank drain plumbed in, but that's okay. I'd say 95% of the detritus comes down from the main display tank up here and not from the frag tank. There's only one little damselfish in there other than the coral, and I feed them pretty lightly. So I just hooked up the main display tank drain for now, made it a lot simpler, and as you can see, it is bubbling away in there. So hopefully when I come home later tonight, this thing looks nice and brown and gunky and is doing its job. So all I have to do now is finish getting the wires hooked up for it, figure out a spot to put this little controller, get everything hooked up, get the skimmer back in here, and then I'll come back at you with an update. Okay guys, here it is exactly 2 weeks later, and this thing has just been rocking and rolling. I am super happy with this thing. You can see about how much of the roll has been used there, and by my rough estimate here, it seems like, at least on my tank, this roll is probably going to last about 2 months, which is a pretty good deal. Picked up a few more of the rolls online last week. I ordered a bunch of stuff for Black Friday, and those weren't on sale, but I picked up a bunch of them anyway. One cool thing that I have noticed here with this filter roller is if you take a product here, some lanthanum chloride product, of which there are many on the market, and I pretty much stopped using this type of stuff because you kind of have to do it into a filter sock, and that was just a pain in the butt. So, but if I take 1 drop of this here and put it into my overflow box, like so, and then we will probably have to wait about 30 seconds here. And there it goes. So to me, that is pretty much proof that the product that's produced by this mixing with phosphate, the solids that are produced by this mixing with phosphate, are in fact getting removed by the ClariSea filter roller here. And now the company that I bought this particular product from actually sold me a 5 micron filter sock, and I believe that the filter roller on here is 20 microns, so it's a little bit larger, but I'm thinking that because there's already a little bit of funk on the roll, it's already clogged enough to where just a little bit of precipitant from this mixing with the phosphate is just enough to tip it over the edge to actually clog the roll enough to roll it again. And it really does seem like the float switch in there is pretty sensitive to the water level in there. It really hardly has to go up at all to trigger that on. And then it only winds, you know, just half a second the motor actually runs before the water level goes down enough for the float to kick back off again. So it is just so satisfying to watch all this stuff getting pulled out of my tank automatically. I don't have to do anything. Twice a month it seems like I'm gonna have to change out a filter roll. That's hardly any maintenance at all compared to what else I was doing. And so far since I've had it, it does have this little controller that I got mounted up here with an alarm built into it. But so far since I've had it installed 2 weeks now, I haven't seen the alarm go off or even heard what that sounds like. So I guess that's a good thing. It's functioning totally as it should. This thing is just awesome. And I definitely noticed a difference in the amount of just particulates floating around in the water column here in the tank. There's a bit of a glare there because it's midday, but the water in here, as far as just particulates in the water, I've never seen it this clear. So this thing is just rocking and rolling. I love it. I still haven't gotten around to doing that water change I was talking about and siphon or shop vacuuming everything out of the sump. It's really not as bad as it was, though. I think just without the constant stream of stuff coming down the drain, that it really, you know, stuff gets stirred up over time by amphipods or by my arm going in there and moving stuff around. So it really seems to have cleared up a lot down here. I'm super stoked about that. And now obviously this skimmer is still pulling out all kinds of nasty stuff in there, but I have noticed a decrease in how much it's pulling out. I'd say this is probably 5 days worth right there, somewhere between 5 days and a week maybe, whereas before I got this filter roller installed on there, I'd get this amount in like 2 days maybe, 2 days, 3 days tops. So I'd say there's maybe like a 30% decrease in the amount that I'm having to clean my skimmer, which is also nice to not have to, that's, you know, that's nobody's favorite chore, I think, is cleaning the skimmer. So yeah, guys, really could not be happier with this product here. The water's nice and clear. I think with the help of a little bit of lanthanum here, I've gotten my phosphate down from like 0.4, and now over 2 weeks I've gotten it down to like 0.05. So that's a huge improvement, and I think my corals will be thanking me for it. Water, I'm gonna experiment with that bypass setting on there and stuff to maybe, especially when I feed the tank, to let a little bit more of that kind of stay in the water column for a little bit longer and then close it up after 10 minutes or something maybe. I don't know, I think that's an experiment I'm gonna run down the road, but for now, you know, I'm just gonna let it run like this, at least until that roll is finished, and then maybe after the first roll, then I'll mess with it and kind of see, I'll have a better feel for it. Definitely appreciate Mr. Jake Adams giving me the opportunity to do this video for you guys, and I hope I can come back at you with another one here before too long. Hopefully something interesting maybe down at the Reef Builder studio.
All right, so I have been using ClariSea Gen 2 automatic filter rolls on 2 different tanks, but he had some really cool observations about using the automatic filter roll, using the ClariSea Gen 2. So go ahead, first of all, tell us about like how much mechanical filtration did you have on the tank before?
Practically none, you know, I mean, unless I was really getting in there doing a water change, stirring up a bunch of stuff. In that case, I'd occasionally throw a filter sock on there just for a few hours to catch it and then chuck the filter sock. But yeah, the difference is just night and day with the amount of stuff that's making it through there, coming from practically no mechanical filtration other than a protein skimmer to pretty much the ultimate solution for that.
And so you've been using it for a couple weeks. What is the main changes or effects that you see in your reef tank so far?
Mostly when I look in from the end of the tank, you know, long ways, I can just see, you know, before there would be just little particles and stuff like that, micro bubbles maybe with some of it, but that's 95% gone at this point. The water's just super crystal clear. The bottom of the sump no longer has that funky layer of junk laying on the bottom of it, and just overall the whole system is cleaner, and my phosphate level is lower there, as you saw as well.
So the filter roll is really great for catching nutrients and exporting them before they break down in the aquarium. But I've actually never used lanthanum chloride. And so tell us what that is and how you kind of mated the use of the LACL with the filter roll.
Well, I guess lanthanum is an element or something that binds to phosphate in the water. So free floating phosphate molecules in the water bond to the lanthanum, and it actually forms a solid that can be filtered out or siphoned out, or I guess those are the 2 best ways to do it, is to do it in a filter sock is typically what you would do, or into a filter roller, and then you're physically taking that out and removing the phosphate from the system that way, instead of messing with GFO and you know, other stuff like
This
that.
guy messing with GFO. I'm a GFO user. I've actually never used LACL. It's only very recently come to my attention that the precipitate formed from lanthanum phosphate can be irritating and detrimental to some fish. So using it directly in the automatic filter chamber or filter sock getting those particles out is really, really important. So if someone else was interested in learning more about an automatic filter roll or just wanted to share some experiences from your tank, what would you tell them?
Well, obviously check out this video. There's a few other good videos on the internet highlighting the product. If you get to check one out in person, that's obviously better. You can really see the size and if it would work for you. But I think this is really the golden ticket out of all the filter rollers that I've seen so far. You know, a lot of them have been too big, or I guess that's the main thing. Just the configuration for a smaller sump like I've got just wasn't right in the past. So
yeah, these automatic filter rolls, they started out as really huge contraptions for ponds and for commercial applications, and they've been a long time coming. The ClariSea Gen 2 is just really small, really practical, and it's the first one I've ever used. I'm already up to 2 and I've got a few more on the way. And man, really great job on the video. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, make sure to subscribe. And Evan and I will be keeping an eye on the comments, answering your questions about this particular build, about automatic filter rolls, and anything related to the ClariSea Gen 2.
absolutely.
Very cool. Well, thanks for doing that, buddy.
Yep.
Did a really good job on your mobile
Thanks,
device.
man.
I'm beyond impressed. And hey, if you guys have an idea of what you want to see Evan install on his tank next, or the next video you want him to do,
Send it my way.
put them in the comments. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.